Jordans were banned in the NBA? Let's find about this and more in today's video. The NBA and shoes have a history, and when it comes to basketball, the words of Mars Blackmon continue to resonate decades later. It's gotta be the shoes. Yes, basketball sneakers have become a massive industry, with some of the top players in the NBA having their own shoe lines and even in some cases their own entire brands, such as Air Jordan or the Curry brand. Because basketball shoes are such big business, competition is incredibly steep. If you look at the history, the NBA has banned many shoes for very weird and awkward reasons, such as them being too shiny or too colorful. Today we'll be counting down a list of shoes that have been banned by the NBA. First up at number 5, the APL Concept Ones. Going through these brands, I came across APL, which was founded back in 2009. Now you guys want to know why APL grabbed my attention? Well, it's because of a shoe that was released back in 2010. Now, why is this shoe so interesting, you may ask? Well, think of it in this way. A new shoe brand that is launched into a market that is already extremely saturated with good brands, so how does a new entrant into the space differentiate themselves from what's come before? For APL, otherwise known as Athletic Propulsion Labs, dropping a basketball shoe of their own meant actually breaking the game. A decade ago, APL founders and brothers Adam and Ryan Goldstone introduced the APL Concept One shoes, a techie yet still really cool looking sneaker. The Concept One also packed the ability to take players' abilities to new heights, literally. Instead of focusing on shock absorption technology, the preference of most athletic shoe companies, APL created a shoe that is designed to compress and then release, mirroring the effect of a spring. It looks to be the real deal too. In test studies, participants achieved up to 3.5 inches of increased vertical leap. Woo, that's a lot. I mean, if I got my hands on those shoes, I'd be able to dunk, and I'm 5'8". These shoes could also increase endurance because players don't have to exert themselves as much. The case of a compressing spring underneath the ball of the foot increased the vertical leap of players by 3.5 inches. It was deemed too much of a competitive advantage for professional players, so the NBA banned the shoe for professional play. I mean, I would have been pretty angry if someone dunked on me wearing these super shoes. While it may have been great to see Earl Boykin test the limits of gravity, I think the NBA got this one right. While the brothers eventually came up with another design suitable for play, the shoe joined the league of banned shoes. Now, moving on, there are many other shoes that have been banned by the NBA. How about you consider subscribing before that? Alright, let's get back to it. At number 5, Nike Air Jordans. Yup, you heard me right. The next one is actually the most famous shoe of all time. With a revenue of about $55 million, that shoe is the Air Jordan. Nearly 35 years later, the original Air Jordan remains the most famous banned NBA sneaker, and they've got a great history. The history of Nike's Jordans and the NBA began back when 21-year-old Jordan stepped on the court for the Chicago Bulls in a preseason game against the New York Knicks in October of 1984. The rookies' trainers, the black and red combo that the player later dubbed the Devil's Colors, caught the attention of the NBA's top man, Commissioner David Stern. Later, Nike received a letter from the NBA explaining that the association's quote, rules and procedures prohibited from Jordan wearing the shoes. The shoes violated the 51% rule, which demanded that players' footwear be mostly white and in keeping with their team's jerseys. It had entered folklore that Jordan was going to be fined $5,000 for every game in the 1985 season in which he wore the original black and red Air Jordan 1 sneakers, and funnily enough, our NBA star refused to stop wearing those shoes, and Nike officially announced that they will cover all the fines that the NBA will throw at our NBA star. For years, Nike capitalized on the controversy, putting black sensor bars over the sneakers in TV ads and later reissuing the original Air Jordan 1 as the banned edition. All of this was designed to bolster Jordan's reputation as a singular athlete, a man who made his own rules. At number 3, the Jordan Melo M10. The first version of Carmelo Anthony's Jordan brand signature sneaker for the 2013-14 season featured a chrome heel counter. While it looked pretty cool, it created multiple issues. Lights from inside the arena reflected on that chrome, creating visibility problems both in person and on TV. And the chrome itself represented a hazard if it was to break off from the sneaker. Jordan realized that Carmelo could not continue with those shoes, so they created a version of the sneaker with a matte heel for Melo for the second half of that season. Although Carmelo wasn't happy as he thought that the chrome was the one that made the shoes unique, in an interview, Carmelo said, quote, Tinker and I were focused on every details from foot molding down to the little specks, and we looked closely at the evolution over the years. If you see the shoe from a distance, the first thing you notice is the chrome statement plating in the sole, combining that with the M on top and the very first signature logo that we created 10 years ago, and we created the best anniversary shoes. Carmelo said, "I don't know what they have to say, but if I have problems like these while watching my game on TV, I would be pretty concerned too." At number 2, the Under Armour Curry 4 Customs.
Proud of you. It's unbelievable. Thank you. Thank you for choosing me in too.
I told it, so the joke was I just didn't want you to dunk on me anymore. You came in after the offensive rebound last year. I was like, I got it.
Al Horford, Kyle Korver, Paul Millsap, and Jeff Teague, and they did go with all two. No! It is Giannis Sports.
Stephen Curry wore custom sneakers for the Warriors' Chinese New Year game in 2018, which reproduced visual elements from his jersey that night. They just had one problem. Curry's jersey was made by Nike, as are all the jerseys in the NBA under a new agreement that began with the league last season. And the visual elements that appeared on Curry's Under Armour shoe were only approved to appear on the Nike jersey, meaning that it wasn't allowed to be worn on the shoes, and my poor guy Curry had to get rid of them.
I mean, 7 signature shoes in, and having an opportunity to launch Curry brand with a brand new tech with the flow technology and just a brand new inspiration and innovation. That moment was special because it allowed me to kind of see the future of where we could go with product.
That's sad considering that those were some really sick sneakers. The two-time MVP ran into a similar problem when he wore sneakers for the Warriors' visit to Washington, D.C., featuring the logo of President Obama's My Brother's Keeper Alliance, which was a violation of the NBA's rule on any third-party logos appearing on sneakers. And I'm not sure why that's a law, but I don't know, man.
If you're around our team long enough with all the passes we make, it's bound to happen. So we call that ball hit?
Ball hit.
And finally, at number 1, the Nike Hyperdunk 2016s. Karl Anthony Towns frequently turned heads with his eye-catching custom sneakers a couple seasons ago, but he caught the wrong kind of attention from the league office after paying homage to the hit Netflix show Stranger Things in January of 2016, and apparently it isn't allowed by the NBA to do stuff like that. And my poor guy Karl Anthony Towns had to get rid of those shoes, but hey, he brought light to one of my favorite shoes even for a small while, and I was there and I was happy for it.
It was big. It was big to get the game and tempo early, get the momentum. Playing away, it's always a big moment when we could get the momentum early. So did a great job coming out ready.
I love you, Carl. Well, that's it for today, guys. Let us know which shoes deserve the actual ban or not in the comments down below. And thank you for making it to the end of this video. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.